What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for TheLines.com, and let's talk some Monday Night Football. A very, very interesting matchup. I think it could start to tell us at least a little bit about the NFC. Rams at the 49ers here on Monday Night Football. Guys, everything we do, absolutely free, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Really do appreciate your support in this thing. We're heading over here. We're clicking the NFL tab. We're clicking on Monday Night Football Preview. Takes you to right here. As we sit right now, the 49ers are 1.5 home favorites across the board. 42.5 is your total in this game. From an injury standpoint, there are a couple of things that we will be monitoring, mainly on the 49ers side of things, as both of their defensive tackles are questionable. Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead are both questionable for this game. We know Trent Williams is out. Big loss for them. Offensive tackle, who's one of the absolute studs at the position. Linebacker Azeez Al-Ashir is going to be out for them as well, as is Ty Davis-Price, the running back. On the Rams side of things, not great for them either. So center Brian Allen is still, if you remember, he left week 1 with a knee injury. He is still recovering from that knee injury, so he's going to be out for them. Left guard David Edwards also did not clear concussion protocol, so he's going to be out. So 2 linemen for the Rams going to be out. Also, corner David Long is out for the Rams tonight as well. So what do we know about these two teams, guys? Well, we know for sure that the 49ers defense is very, very good. That we are at least sure of when it comes to this 49ers team. They are creating a ton of pressure without having to blitz, which is awesome because if you're getting pressure with the front four, then you can still leave all your full complement of people in coverage, which is why this defense has been so successful so far. The number 3 overall DVOA defense, the number 1 defense according to Pro Football Focus. And if you look at the EPA standings, defensive EPA, they're 4th overall. Yards per play that they're giving up, they're 1st overall. You get it. Early down success rate, 1st overall. 49ers defense has been great. That being said, there's a little bit that has to do with the schedule and the opponents and stuff that goes in there, but nobody's questioning whether this defense is good or not. And the other reason this is good for them, that they're creating a ton of pressure without blitzing, is because, as we know, Matthew Stafford just absolutely torches the blitz. And so them being able to get that pressure without the blitz rate being high is really good for them tonight against Matt Stafford. Now, on the Rams side of things, what do we know about this team? Well, offense and defense both kind of just been middle of the pack so far. It almost feels like they were sleepwalking just a little bit with all this. But let's remember, Sean McVay's strategy is he does not play starters in the preseason. So none of these guys played in the preseason. So those first couple of games were, well, the first game of the year against the Bills at full strength, I might add. I mean, the Bills are the best team in the NFL at full strength. So you can't really hold that against them. And then, they got 2 wins. Yeah, they didn't look great at all points during those 2 wins, but they did get 2 other wins. But again, remember, these guys didn't play together in preseason. There's all of that's going on with everything. Stafford didn't get time with these receivers, didn't have a chance to get a rapport with like an Allen Robinson or anything who's new. So, I think that this team only gets better as we continue on through the course of the season. Now, we know the whole Trey Lance thing. Jimmy Garoppolo steps in. What do we know about Jimmy Garoppolo so far? Small sample size, but he is the 29th graded passer out of 33 qualifiers heading into this week. So incredibly low. Jimmy Garoppolo's not been good so far. But if I'm going to talk about the Rams not having a preseason, I also have to bring up the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo didn't have a preseason, right? This is a guy that not only didn't have a preseason, wasn't allowed to even practice with the team. They didn't give him a damn playbook, and they had him out on a practice field that nobody else was out on because they needed to protect him because they thought they were going to trade him. They didn't want him any chance in the world of him getting hurt. So if I'm going to say that, hey, the Rams need some time to kind of get ramped up on the offensive side of the ball, then the same has to be said for the 49ers when you think that Jimmy Garoppolo, again, basically wasn't a part of this team all offseason. So I'm giving him a bit of a pass. The thing that was most concerning, though, for me, and it was less about Jimmy Garoppolo, being inaccurate and stuff, which he was last week, badly inaccurate, horribly inaccurate. But it was the arm strength. He had shoulder surgery, if you guys remember. And that actually is what turned a couple of teams off that were at least semi-interested in him. They didn't want to get a guy that had just had shoulder surgery, and Jimmy Garoppolo did, right? And so there's that's going on with him as well. And that was the most concerning. He was not able to push the ball down the field. And I don't think that has anything to do with rust as it does just physical ability. And so that has me at least a little scared with Jimmy Garoppolo in this game as well. Look, the first thing that came to mind, guys, when it came down to it, and I'll scroll up here so you can read along. It's just this seemed like wrong team favored to me. I think the Rams, if anything, are a small favorite in this at the very least. It's a coin flip. I have the Rams, tons of liability on the Rams tonight in teaser legs that won on Sunday. They're heading into this. I also had a Rams +2 ticket in this as well. Look, I think from a Rams side, from a defensive perspective, them not getting any pressure, which by the way, the Rams are dead last in pressure rate right now. That's going to regress towards the mean, towards the positive for them. Jimmy Garoppolo's not good under pressure. Like I said, I wonder just how healthy that shoulder is or just what that shoulder has left in the tank, right? If you watched what I watched last week, you saw it was certainly some concerning stuff for him. And so I think we get a better effort on the defensive side of the ball from the Rams. And listen, I think the offense, as I mentioned, is only going to get better as the weeks go by. Matthew Stafford gets more reps. The offense gets more reps. Allen Robinson gets more reps with Matthew Stafford. And then this offense just looks a whole lot better, which kind of leads me to my first prop here. And again, prop tool, go to odds, prop finder. You just type in the person's name. It's amazing. It's an awesome tool. You should do this before you ever make any prop bet to make sure you're getting the best number. But Allen Robinson, listen, I'm going to take the over 38.5. I'm buying into the fact that each week he's going to become a bigger part of this offense, that they are going to get a better rapport together, him and Matthew Stafford. And frankly, if this team's going to do anything this year, they're going to have a secondary option. I mean, it's like he's going to have to be a bigger part of this offense. So I think there's going to be a concerted effort to make sure that he gets involved in. Plus, if you're San Francisco, Matthew Stafford has basically dropped back and looked at Cooper Kupp instantly every single drop back so far this season. You are going to force them to go elsewhere other than Cooper Kupp. And I think that Shanahan and everybody in that coaching office for San Francisco knows that as well. So pretty low total here. I mean, considering he was at 60 in week 1, everyone thought he was going to be a much bigger part of this offense. So, I mean, we're getting a 20-yard decline is what we need from him. And again, this is just, he's going to have to play a bigger role or the Rams are not going to win. And then my whole handicap of the game is wrong. So then we have that. So over 38.5 on Allen Robinson. Sticking with just some of the stuff here, guys. Look, Deebo Samuel, we go over here and I pull up rushing yards and I want to play the under 30.5 on Deebo Samuel for rushing yards. Here's the thing. He had 8 carries in week 1, but if you remember, that game was in the slop. It was that crazy weather game. But then in week 2 and week 3, it was back to 4 carries and 5 carries. Now you're going to look, and if you just look at the box score, you're going to say like, dude, yeah, he had 4 carries, but had 53 yards in week 2. You're right. But he had 4 carries for 53 yards, in which one of those carries went for 51 yards. So it was just a gigantic splash play that got him there, and the other 3 carries went for basically nothing. Week 3, he had 5 carries. So this past week, he had 5 carries for 6 yards. So I just think if we're just getting him, targeting him for about 5 carries like he is, and 5 yards a carry, by the way, is awesome average. So if he's 5 carries for 5 yards, we're comfortably under the 30.5 here for Deebo Samuel. So I do like the under 30.5 for him. Now listen, Ty Davis Price isn't going to play. So Marlon Mack or Tevin Campbell is going to be the running back too. Does that mean more carries for Deebo? I don't think so. I mean, Tevin Campbell's been there before, right? I mean, this is a guy that actually used to play for the 49ers. So Marlon Mack's a veteran, so as opposed to like overloading Deebo with 10 carries in the game, I think those extra little carries that don't go to Jeff Wilson just go to either Marlon Mack or Tevin Campbell. So, and I could be wrong. If for whatever reason they decide that Deebo's RB2, then if that's the case, then this prop probably gets blown up for us. But I'm going to take the under 30.5 for Deebo rushing yards. And finally, we made a little same game parlay that kind of tells the story in all of this. Rams going to win, so Rams money line. Matthew Stafford's going to have to go for at least 225 yards if they're going to have any success in this game. So Stafford over that. Allen Robinson, as I mentioned, is going to have to play a bigger part in the offense if this is going to work out for us. So over 34.5 yards for Allen Robinson. And this is where things, you're going to go, wait a minute, Jimmy Garoppolo over passing yards. But here's the deal. The 49ers are a run-first team, and certainly if they get ahead in this game, they're just going to continue to run. So the thinking here is if the Rams are going to win, and if that's how this game is going to go, then the 49ers are going to have to get out of the run first, and they're going to have to throw a little bit more. And I'm only asking for 195 passing yards out of Jimmy Garoppolo. But if they're in catch-up mode, if they're having to get out of the run first mentality because they're down in the game, then it actually works in our favor, Jimmy Garoppolo having a few extra passing yards. And so 195 yards for Jimmy Garoppolo at least. And then again, George Kittle just getting more involved. Remember, he had to miss a couple of weeks with a groin injury. He's going to get more involved in this offense as well. And again, if they're playing from behind, which that's kind of what the story we're telling here, Rams are going to win, et cetera, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw for at least 200 yards. Then I'm only asking for 30 out of Kittle. And we know if you get in that 2-minute offense, 4-minute offense, whatever it might be, it's just you'll take what the defense gives you sometimes just to move the ball. And Kittle's that perfect guy. So we're telling that story, and that actually pays plus 575. So again, I think that is a reasonable story to tell if you believe the Rams win the game here like I do. So that's an interesting little same game parlay for me. Guys, no real thought on the total. If anything, lean a little bit under, but again, I'm not touching it at all. This thing has plummeted 4 or 5 points since it opened, and so I'm just going to leave that thing alone. So as always, everything we do, absolutely free. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Let us know in the comments how you are playing this game. Come join the Discord. And of course, as always, we're giving you the very best offers, as you can see, in all the sports books out there. Free bets, money back, all the different things like that. So take advantage of all that as well, fellas. And good luck on all your bets here on Monday Night Football.